In lesson 3, we're going to be talking about decimal equivalents for fractions. In your key idea, it says a rational number can be written as a fraction, a terminating decimal, or a repeating decimal, and a percent. So a rational number can be written as a fraction, a terminating decimal, a repeating decimal, and a percent. For example, the rational number 1/4 can be written as 0.25 and 25%. So here they are just showing how they got 0.25. So they used long division with taking 1 divided by 4. And this is what we've been doing in your calculator. So if you take 1 divided by 4 in your calculator, you're going to get 0.25. And then over here, they show how they took the decimal, turned it into a fraction. And remember, when we're taking a decimal, turning into a fraction, it's going to be out of 100. So they took 25 over 100, divided the top and the bottom by 25, and got 1/4. Repeating decimals can be rounded to specific place values such as hundredths. For example, 0.6 repeating can be rounded to 0.67. Converting a rational number from a fraction and rounding repeating decimals can help locate the rational number within a range of numbers. Writing 2/3 as 0.67 makes it possible to locate 0.6 repeating between 0.6 and 0.7. So on the try this, you're going to take your fractions and turn it into decimals, and then you're just going to say which one is it in between. Okay, on your slides, I just have you dragging an X over to the correct box. I can add a box for you to write your decimal down, but you don't have to. So, for example, 3/4. So in your calculator, you're going to take 3 divided by 4, and you get 0.75. Okay, so 0.75, is that between 0.7 and 0.8, or 0.3 and 0.4? And that's going to be in between 0.7 and 0.8, so you would just drag your X to that box. 3/8, I'm going to do a couple of these for examples. 3/8 is 0.375 as a decimal. So you have to think, is that between 0.3 and 0.4, or 0.4 and 0.5? And that would be between 0.3 and 0.4. 2/3, 2 divided by 3 as a decimal, that's going to be 0.6 repeating, which they also said you can round to 0.67. So is that between 0.2 and 0.3, or 0.6 and 0.7? So hopefully that one is a given. It's between 0.6 and 0.7. 4/11, 4 divided by 11, that's going to be 0.36 repeating. So would that be between 0.3 and 0.4, or 0.2 and 0.3? And that would be between 0.3 and 0.4. So change your fraction to decimal, and then drag your X over to the correct decimal of what is in between. So just a note, your first step is fraction to decimal. On the practice, they actually give you a box this time to write the decimal equivalent. It's just a good habit to get into, writing that down. So you're going to take the fraction, so number 9, this is 1/6, so 1 divided by 6 is going to be 0, whoops, I gotta change that, is going to be 0.16 repeating. So now you have to decide, is that between 0.1 and 0.2, or 0.6 and 0.7? And that would be between 0.1 and 0.2. 5/7, so 5 divided by 7. You're going to get a big, long repeating decimal in there. So that's going to be 0. I'm just going to put 2 after the decimal point. That's going to be 0.71. And they want to know, is that between 0.5 and 0.7 or 0.7 and 0.8? And that would be between 0.7 and 0.8. When you get down to 12 and 13, 54%, as a decimal, that's just going to be 0.54, and 82% would be 0.82. And then you just have to circle or put your X next to what it would be in between. So 0.54, 54 would come after 0.50. So this one would be between 0.5 and 0.6. Okay, down at the bottom, we have to do quite a few things, but this is good practice. So it tells us the range. So it's between 0.1 and 0.2. So you could have any terminating decimal between 0.1 and 0.2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the equivalent fraction, and then you guys are going to do the decimal and the percent. So on number 14, my fraction here is going to be 11 over 100. On 15, this is going to be 35 over 100. And number 16, this is going to be 52 over 100. And number 17, this is going to be 61 over 100. And number 18, this is going to be 83 over 100. Okay, so now you have to do the decimal and the percent. So number 14, 11 divided by 100 is going to be 0.11, and 11 over 100 as a percent is going to be 11%. 35 over 100, 35 divided by 100 to get your decimal, that's going to be 0.35, and that's going to be 35%. So I will fill these in on your slides for you. You're going to take your fraction, so your numerator divided by your denominator to get your decimal, and then since these are out of 100, to find your percent, you just have to take the top number. On your practice page, you're doing the same thing that we just did on slide number 1 and slide number 2. On the first part, on 1 through 5, you're going to write the decimal equivalent for each fraction and then circle the range that it lies in between. I think on yours, I just have that X that you have to drag the right box to. So on the decimal equivalent, 5 divided by 6, this would be 0.83 repeating. So then would that be between 0.5 and 0.6 or between 0.8 and 0.9? And that would fall in between those two decimals. So you would put your X next to there. So 2/7, 2 divided by 7 to get your decimal. You get a big long decimal for that one, but just put 2 after the decimal point. So 0.28. And that would fall in between 0.2 and 0.3. When you get down to the bottom, they give you the range. I'm going to give you the fraction, so I'll have this part filled in for you. You're going to give me the terminating decimal and the percent. Okay, remember, when your fraction is out of 100, your top number equals your percent. To find your decimal, hopefully this is becoming habit, your decimal, you're going to take your numerator and divide it by your denominator.